I know. Hello, welcome. Some of you may be surprised we decided to throw this at Proper Romance last minute, but I think this applies. I'm Amy from Shadow Mountain. I have the wonderful Rebecca Connolly with me. I almost went that way with my hand and not this way. I always forget that it's the other way around.
I know
The
it makes me keep trying playing with my hair and it goes in the wrong direction.
This is just going to be a fun Thursday afternoon and / evening for Becky because she doesn't live anywhere near where I'm coming from. But we are on here to talk about this book. But we were actually, prior to us going on live, we were talking about Becky's salty sessions. If you follow her on her socials, you will know about Becky's salty sessions. And she was saying that she actually hasn't done any for a while. So we thought maybe we'd start off with a salty session. I don't know. Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't.
I should have some fallback salty things that I can just, whatever. If I don't feel,
I honestly feel like all of us could come up with a topic for a salty session.
Yeah.
Off the top of it. I mean, I had one. You had two.
Yeah.
That we could have talked about.
We could have done that. I mean, I've done salty sessions about the size of my multivitamin.
Well, there you go. So anything goes. So if you're here and you're joining us, then just drop in the comments something you're salty about. I think.
Give me some ideas.
Yeah, give Becky some ideas for some salty sessions. That maybe not too personal.
No hot topics. That's the rule.
Yes, no hot topics. Oh, Catherine's with us. She says she's also from Indiana. So there you go.
Yes.
Lived in Idaho for half of your life. Do you know what, though? I think I'd rather be in Indiana. And I'm not saying anything against Idaho, but I quite like Indiana.
Indiana's fabulous.
And actually, I mean, I lived in Michigan for a while, which is obviously above Indiana. But not too far. We were only about 45 minutes away from the edge of Indiana. And we went to Shipshewana all the time, this time of year.
Lovely.
And I really miss the Amish pies that we used to get.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, they are the best. Like living by Amish country in Thanksgiving time is like, it's like the whole reason to live there.
It's the golden ticket.
Yes.
Ugh.
Anybody tuning into this right now, you're probably really confused what we're doing. That's okay. I mean, we're just having a fun chat between Shadow Mountain, the publisher, and one of our lovely authors. So let's get to it. We're here with Rebecca Connolly. If you still have something salty, you can still pop that in the comments. We'll talk about it. Who has written, I feel like, Becky, you write so many genres of books. Is there anything you've not done?
Pure thriller.
Pure thriller. Is it on the plan?
A pure thriller. I've done like romantic suspense and things like that, but a straight up thriller I haven't done. No horror, but I would probably be way too scared to do that. I am a massive chicken. I haven't done any kids books. And I haven't done a memoir.
Oh, so there you go. You're going to write your own memoir.
Well, yeah. That's a salty session in and of itself.
Actually, it could be. We could just call the book Salty Sessions.
A Salty Life.
A Salty Life, yes. Here we go, chicken over here too. Yeah, I actually don't like horror movies, and I don't read horror books either. It's not my thing. My kids love it for some weird reason. I didn't raise them that way.
No, I am that person that I sit with like a pillow like this. With movies like What Lies Beneath. I'm not even talking about pure horror movies. Like What Lies Beneath terrified me because Harrison Ford should not be a bad guy. Spoiler alert. It's not okay.
Yeah, Harrison Ford, if you're watching.
Sorry, Harrison.
Shame on you for even.
Rude. Absolutely rude. I'm sure that it was a palate cleanser for him. But I've never been the same.
Okay, so with Shadow Mountain specifically, though, you seem to have been in the historical fiction space. You've written The Brilliant Night of Stars and Ice. Was that your first? That was your first one, right?
That was my first with Shadow Mountain.
Yes. I mean, the cover alone will make you want to buy that book.
Oh yeah, I'll never forget when I saw that cover art. I was at my day job, and my phone, I had my cell phone, and it was ringing, and it was an 801 number, and I was like, I probably had to take this. So I worked at a doctor's office. So I stepped into an empty patient room and I answered the phone, and it was Chris Schobinger and Lisa Mangum on the phone together.
Oh,
and I was like, hi. They're like, yeah, hi, we're on the phone together. Have you checked your email lately? I was like, no, should I? So they're like, yes, check your email, and we want you to be on the phone when you do it. I'm like, okay. So I check my email, and the cover art had just come through, and they called me because they wanted to hear my reaction to the cover art, and it was worth a phone call.
I love that. I love that. Did you scream?
Yeah, a little bit. Squealed.
It's a beautiful cover, as is the next book that you released with us, which was Under the Cover of Mercy, which, oh my word, that book. I mean, if you need something to read right now, this is the book to read right now.
It's the perfect
It's
month for it.
perfect for this month. And I don't think you can get anything better than somebody smuggling people out and trying to hide it. And I can't even imagine. Those scenarios. And you certainly did that again with your Hidden Yellow Stars, which is best-selling book for us this year. It is doing so well, like at another level. Like I love this book. It's so good.
I love it.
And so I'm kind of curious. Well, we talked about this before about how you ended up writing a cozy mystery. That has nothing to do with World War II or the Titanic.
So
But,
we, for this idea, it goes way back to when I was writing in a timeless romance anthology with Sarah Eden and Sean Bessie. And it was a Georgian era. And we were talking about, I don't remember how we got on the topic, but we were, messaging each other, and we talked about doing like the Great Georgian Bake Off or something like that, or the Great Regency Bake Off. And then I was like, wait, how are we going to do that? They've got, the historic kitchens, and how are we going to do this? Do they do baking competitions in the Georgian era? And we were joking about the whole thing. And so then it got me thinking about, what if we did, the Great British Bake Off meets, historical settings. And so you've got like modern bakers in a historic setting. And then, I don't know, a couple months later, I was working with my social media specialist, and for my birthday, she sent me an email with a fake blurb for a book for my Great Regency Bake Off, because we'd talked about it, and she turned it into a rom-com where there's like a brooding viscount, and he falls in love with this baker that's on the show, and the show's happening at his estate and the whole thing. And I was like, that's adorable. Okay, that's fabulous. And so I tweaked that a little bit. And then I think Lisa had asked for, I don't know, silly ideas or something like that on Facebook one day. And so I messaged her and I said, here's a silly idea for you. And I sent it to her. And then like a year or something later, she wrote back to me and she said, remember when you pitched me this? And she had the blurb that I had sent her verbatim. And I'm like, that wasn't an official pitch, but okay. And then she said, can you throw a dead body in it? And I was like, what?
For someone who doesn't like horror, you now have to throw a dead body into your story.
I know. And so then we started talking about it, and they wanted to do a new kind of mystery lineup. And so they thought this idea would work well if we could turn it into a cozy mystery as well. So I have a baking rom-com cozy mystery suddenly. And I was like, okay. And so that's
happened to turn into this.
It happened to turn into the Crime Brulee Bake Off. I'd like to thank my father for helping me with puns.
Yeah.
It's now become his official job. He's named himself my official pun master.
He's the pun master. I love that. I love that you have a pun master in your...
Because my job in this career, or my role in your career is... I was like, oh, okay, great, yeah. So, and he has some great ideas. He's where I get my sense of humor from. So that's how the Crime Brulee Bake Off came to be. And it's morphed a bit from what it originally started off as, but the core of it is still exactly the same as it was supposed to be. So was it Library Journal that called it a row mystery?
A row mystery, yeah. Which I don't know if I've heard that term before.
I don't know either, but I am using it. I want a t-shirt. So it's a row mystery.
Yeah. Put your dad on the case. See if he can come up with a good pun for the row mystery. But row mystery, yeah. I love that. You're just going into new things, Rebecca, and changing up the dictionary. So you just mentioned there, you're talking about Bake Off. I mean, in essence, if you're a fan of the Great British Bake Off, or as the Americans call it, the Great British Baking Show, I don't know why they did that. Maybe for legal reasons, but
Probably legal.
I call it the Bake Off because I'm British.
I do too.
And I hope you do too, Becky.
Yeah.
And so we could be salty about that. Maybe that's a salty session.
Maybe that's a salty session. Why did you change the name?
Salty about why you changed the name, because Bake Off sounds better, but it does. But however, if we we would just love to know, because I'm a fan. Becky's a fan. I think a lot of people are fans of this show.
A lot of people are fans.
Let's throw it in the comments if you're a fan of the
fan of BBBO. There's a musical. Do you people know this? There is a Great British Bake Off musical. I saw it in London last year.
Everyone should go. Curious, does it have the funny comedians?
Oh, yes.
Okay, there you go. Because it's really not the Bake Off without comedians. Have you been a fan from the start?
Probably from the start of when it was popular in America, because we don't have like the very earliest seasons.
Okay.
But I've been a fan for a long time. And you can watch the early seasons if you have Roku. Fun fact. I learned these things because I had to do a ton of research. I think I've seen
watching all the seasons.
I've seen so many of the seasons. I have notes, like the notes on my computer. There are some of them that I have listed where I have started writing down the specific recipes and not the like actual recipes, but the titles of things, like when certain things were made in which episodes, because if I needed to write about making this thing in my book, I needed to know which episode to go back and watch.
Love that.
So it's very intense.
Yes, that's a lot of research. Well done. I think that was research I would like to do, actually, to just watch past episodes of the British Bake Off.
You know what? If you want to be one of my authenticity readers, then you're going to have to.
What I am going to read right now is the description of this book, because I think everybody needs to hear it, because you can't hear this and not be super excited to read it.
And it helps that you're British, because you're going to read it in a British accent, and it takes place.
I thought actually I'd do it in an American accent.
Don't do it in an American accent.
I don't even know how to do an American accent, even though I get accused of speaking American by my British family when I start talking.
Well, you know,
I think it's because I use like American terms, and that, you know,
that'll do it. Yeah,
I have a weird lingo now. It's a mashup of both. All right, here we go. Amateur baker Claire Walker is thrilled to be a contestant on Britain's Battle of the Bakers. So that's the name of the show. She can almost smell the fresh pastries wafting through the air. If she can win the grand prize, she can ditch her teaching job and launch her baking career. The Viscount of Colburn, Jonathan Ainsley, is the custodian of Blackfirth Park and an eligible bachelor. He reluctantly agrees to allow the show to film on his estate, but when a contestant is found dead, horrifying, soon after the filming begins, Jonathan is forced to get involved. To make matters worse, the baker's death is eerily similar to the legendary death of the 10th Viscountess of Colburn 250 years earlier, which sends rumors racing through the estate. Even as suspicion falls on some of the bakers, a decidedly different kind of heat begins to simmer between Claire and Jonathan. Ooh. If they are to have any hope of a future romance, they must first solve the mystery before the show gets cancelled or someone else falls prey to the Blackfirth Park ghost. Have we got paranormal in this too?
Quite possibly. Does that make it a pararo mystery?
A pararo mystery. I don't know. I think.
Jeez.
I mean, before I even I knew the book title, I knew the concept, but when I read that description too, I was like, this is a must read. I'm a fan of the baking show.
That's the idea.
I'm a fan of this. I mean, this feels like it has probably everything most people want to read. It has the aristocracy, it has the Bake Off, it has murder, and it has ghosts and legends. Is there anything I'm missing there of the must-haves in a book, in a row mystery? Well, we didn't say romance, but it's got romance.
We didn't say romance, but there is some. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a row mystery.
No.
Yeah. No.
Awesome. So my question for you, apart from the rigorous research of watching episodes of the Bake Off, how was this for you writing?
Oh, it was a ball. I had such a fun time. And I cast actors and actresses as my characters, because that really helps me to when I'm writing them, because then I can see their facial expressions a little bit more easily and hear their voices and things like that. And so the entire time that I was writing this, to help me not get so distracted on my computer, I had my actual cork board leaning against the wall, just right in front of me here, with pictures pinned up of the actors. And I actually got red yarn and I tied various characters to each other, like we're doing, you know, murder mystery crime solving TV shows. And, you know, I had pictures of the house, and I had, this is going to sound gruesome, I had pictures of various injuries that are found on the victim, because I just needed to remember what I'm going with here. And it just, you know, every now and then I would just look up and be like, oh yeah, right, that's what so and so looks like. Okay, great. So we'll do this. And then that's, oh right, that's who this person is. And okay. And it really helped me to get into the stride of it. And so it felt like I had, okay, so anybody here who has seen The Man Who Invented Christmas, it was like, I mean, I'm not comparing myself to Charles Dickens, let's not go there, but it was like in that movie, how you have all the characters like around and acting things out, and he's just trying to write it down, sort of thing. It was kind of like that, except it felt like they were all kind of like crowding around me, like invading my personal space while I'm trying to write this. But it was so much fun, and it was really fun to try and capture the intensity of Bake Off in various scenes, and you know, having to go through piece by piece of a recipe, like down to the nitty gritty, because that's what Claire has to do. And but then bringing in so many different personalities, and trying to make them all distinctive, because you don't want anybody to blur together. But it was a hoot. And to have these characters, just trying to have them naturally fall for each other, but at the same time, this is a series. And so as a romance writer, because I also do that, you're not getting the full romantic arc in this book. So I had to pace it differently than I normally do. And so that was challenging, pacing the romance with the mystery, along with the baking throughout. So the baking was probably the easiest part, but I'd never written a mystery before. So I called upon my friendship with Stephanie Black, and that her helped me a lot, because
that's making me think twice about whether I read this, because she scares the heck out of me, to Stephanie Black, when I read her books.
No, it's not like that. I didn't like get pointers from her about like specific.
Pause for Stephanie Black. We love you, Stephanie. But
it was more like, what clues appear when? Like, do I throw in a red herring? What am I doing, Stephanie? And when we started doing the mystery aspect, I was at a conference and I took a mystery class for the first time, and I realized just how broad mystery can be. And so I had to go to Lisa et al. And say, okay, on the scope of mystery, are we going Murder, She Wrote, or Murder on the Orient Express, or whatever it's called? You know, like I need to know, because I realize we're not going beyond that, because that's not who we are. But I need a there's a spectrum here, and I need to know where it is. I also watched a lot of Murder, She Wrote, which was really entertaining. So it was just trying to figure all the pieces that I need to put into place. And so it was so fun. It's rare that I get to do brand new things. And it's scary, but it's also really fun.
Yeah. So. There's a funny, Mara's down here in the comments saying that she loves Stephanie books because they don't scare her. Well, they scare me. They've made me rethink being alone in a room with Stephanie Black.
As long as she has her knitting with her, she's fine, or her crochet. Right. As long as she's got that going with her, it's fine. She could probably kill you with her knitting needles.
Yes, that's okay.
Just don't be in the same room with her and Greg Luke at the same time.
Oh yeah, well I have been in the same place as the two of them together, but you know.
Were other people in the room too, or was it just the three of you? Because
I think we had Tracy Abramson in the room, I think, as well. So I think we're okay.
I'm not sure that's gonna help either. Those three.
Oh,
those three together, they can pull off the perfect crime.
And we also had, I believe, Claire Paulson. Was he there too? Either way, we had. Why was I with them together? I don't know, but
I don't know. But you would have been the victim.
I really would have been the victim. I'm glad I'm still alive. Okay, so Cozy Mysteries, you touched on this, and we called it, you said how the Library Journal called this a row mystery. And it's, it's in a contemporary setting. You haven't set this in the 1800s or the 1700s or the 1600s.
Right.
Which, I think that's going to make it really fun, though, that you've got this in a contemporary setting and you've got it on an estate. Which, and it's interesting. I mean, this is what librarians are interested these days. This is the kind of book they want, and which by default means to me, that's what the readers want to read as well. So I'm really excited that we're doing this at Shadow Mountain, despite the way that it came about.
Hey, I will take opportunity when it knocks.
Yes. So I'm really excited about it. And you mentioned that this is a brand new series and that Claire Walker is like the main star of the show, and she's going to continue. Are we going to see Jonathan then the whole way through this series?
Yeah.
You're not going to pull a Stephanie Black into them
just to pull them apart. Spoiler alert. Come on now. I mean, nobody else is going to take his, his Lord Grumpiness, and Claire is just too special and spunky.
So tell us a little bit more about Claire. Who did you style Claire after?
Emilia Clarke.
Emilia Clarke. Okay. And what about Jonathan?
Luke Thompson.
Luke Thompson. Okay, there we go. So there we've got some visuals.
Yeah, and there's hints about it too. There's hints about it in the book. Well, for her anyway, because she talks about, because he and she, whatever, they talk about her eyebrows and what they can do. Because if you've ever seen interviews with Emilia Clarke, she can do amazing things with her eyebrows.
So you utilize the eyebrows in the book. That's great.
And I'm like, this is Emilia Clarke. So Emilia, hi. You want to play this character?
That would be great. So tell us a little bit more about Claire. I just love a little bit more background on Claire.
Yeah. So Claire is a teacher, and she likes teaching, but it's a little bit of a means to an end as well. Her real passion is baking, and her grandma and great grandma kind of got her started in that. She was raised in a pub called the White Fox, and her dad, being afraid that his kids would grow up hearing all sorts of awful language and then adapting it for themselves, asked them all to create their own curse words using other things. So Claire swears in baking terms.
Nice.
So one of her favorites is crepes alive. She also says cake and a custard. I think I also have her at some point saying tarts, and oh sugar, which I got from Julie Wright, and all sorts of just random things like that. And it's really funny when people start hearing her do this and they're like, what are you saying? And at one point, I'm pretty sure, like, Jonathan, who those familiar with him call him Johnny, which I think is so cute, but I should think it's cute. I wrote it. He's trying not to curse, and so she says, use baking terms. It's easier. And so I think his first one, I think, is gritty risotto. Of all the gritty risotto ideas I've ever heard, or something like that. And she's like, gritty risotto, and he says, it's my first time.
Yeah.
Something like that. But I'm pretty sure later on he uses baguettes, which I think is a great curse word. Yeah. Baguettes.
That's just a perfect word. That's a perfect word to throw out. The baguette. It's a good word.
It's just really fun to randomly, and I think he uses tiramisu later, and I'm like, why shouldn't that be a curse word? So swear in baking terms, everybody. It'll make you happy, and then it'll make you hungry. So that's probably one of my favorite quirks about Claire, is her baking swear words. And she's shocked that she's made it in here, and but she's a fan of the show. She is a diehard fan, so she knows, various episodes, various bakers from various seasons or series, as the Brits say. So she wants the entire experience to be awesome, and she wants that close family feel amongst all of the bakers, and just, the things that we see on TV. And these are things that I see watching Bake Off. Everybody loves each other and they support each other, and it's so great. And so having a murder and having people suspected of having part in it and trying to figure out who could be the one doing this. Is it one of the bakers? Is it one of the showrunners? Is it somebody from the community? Is it like whoever? all of this is terrifying and really cramping her style as far as the experience on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And she loves, mysteries and reading, but she never thought that she would be dragged into one. And so having to do that, when she and Johnny get asked to help out, that's a little scary for them, but they are the only ones that the lovely, I can't think of the word right now, detective, policeman, whoever, Watson is his name. They're the only ones that Watson knows he can count on, because they're the only ones that they absolutely know had nothing to do with it. I mean, there's probably a couple other people, but but they're the two that he goes to for help. And so it's it's fun for them. So then you get all sorts of mischief and the ghost and all sorts of insanity.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about Blackfirth Park. I'm interested in this. I always feel like the Bake Off happens. It happens in beautiful, beautiful garden grounds of a beautiful estate. So I'm curious, did you base this house off of that house, or did you pick a different place entirely?
I picked a different place entirely because I needed a specific. I needed some specific things for the crime to go down the way I wanted. So the house that I set this at is it's called Maple Durham, and it is absolutely gorgeous and just perfectly picturesque. And my absolute, I need to go there now. I've never been there. Been to a lot of places, but I haven't been there.
Okay.
But that's it really helps me to have an actual house to base things off of, because then when I'm describing it, I can, look at actual pictures, because my imagination doesn't work as well as I would like, but it's fine.
This would be a good showstopper bake for you, Becky.
What?
To make the house.
Make the house?
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Let's do it. We'll all make a house. Actually, we could challenge everybody in the comments.
We could. People, see if you can make Maple Durham out of, angel food cake.
Is that all one word? Because I don't think I've heard of that place. I'm actually Googling
Maple Durham is all one word. Yeah.
This is like how off the cuff we are sometimes.
Yeah.
Just to look up. Okay.
Maple Durham's in Reading. But that's not where. But is that where I said it? Now I can't remember if I set this near Reading.
On the Thames.
No,
is that where it's at? Is it Maple Durham, in the village of Maple Durham? It's beautiful if that's the right place.
Probably.
It's looking through.
Gorgeous. It's very gothic and
very pretty pictures.
So pretty.
Yeah, I feel like we should all go there on a trip. That's amazing. Yeah. It's beautiful.
I think it'd be a great idea. So, there was a lot of fun with that. And so Blackfirth Park was chosen because it has these historic kitchens, which the show wanted to kind of hype up the historical aspect of it. Maple Durham, I don't believe, has historic kitchens, but
or just pretend.
Blackfirth does. Yeah. And so that was part of it, but then also they have this mystery, and that's the death of the 10th Viscountess. And it's suspicious because no one knew exactly how she died. There is a possibility of a couple different things, but autopsies being what they were in like the 17th century or 18th century, I can't remember how long ago it was, but they weren't entirely sure, and they never had someone to charge for it. And so there's this whole mystery about it. And poor Johnny kind of hates the mystery, because that's all anybody wants to talk about with Blackfirth. And, he feels like there's so much more to the estate and there's more to the family, but that's all anybody ever wants to talk about. And it gets old. And so he's not entirely delighted that the show wants to talk about it, but he also understands that he signed the contract with the show. They can use the money coming in from the show to, take care of things on the estate. So he's just going to roll with it. But he's basically said, nobody ask me any questions about it.
Yeah.
So he's a little bit grumpy about it, which is
Sounds like a salty session.
Considering what comes back in his face. But yeah, it was just it's just delightful to be able to enjoy my historical fiction, historical romance.
Historical fiction, but without having to do the research of writing for historical fiction.
Yeah. And I write Regency romances all the time. And so enjoying setting that, doing that kind of thing, but in contemporary, it's so much fun.
I love
it. Absolutely so much fun.
So we missed the question earlier. I did see somebody posted a question. It's okay. We were talking about all the fun things. Do you know how long this series is going to be of the Claire Walker? We don't know.
I have no idea. I currently know there's at least 3.
There's at least 3. So that's our answer. I can't remember who asked it, but thanks for asking the question.
I'm begging for a 4th at least because I want to do a holiday one.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, we like Christmas stories. And so what's better than Christmas Story with a Murder?
I even put it in that book that Black Firth in its history used to host mega holiday soiree sort of things, and that Queen Victoria and Prince Albert came to one.
There you go. So if we can't do that story, there needs to be 4. It sounds like there just has to be 4.
There's got to be at least 4 because people are going to want that party.
Yeah.
And a murder at a Christmas.
I'm a massive fan of Queen Vic anyway, so let's have it. Let's have that full story. We're going to jump into our giveaway because not only this is an amazing giveaway. In fact, Becky and I we were looking at all the pictures in the book and we were so excited. So we're doing a giveaway for a copy of this as an advanced reader copy of the Creme Brulee. This doesn't come out until February 4th of 2025, which really isn't that far away at this point.
Nope.
Let's face it, that's like 2 months plus a bit. That's how I refer to it. 2 months plus a bit. Yeah. And so before this comes out, and actually it'll be on shelves probably before that. So at some point in January you'll be able to get your hands on this book, which I'm super excited about. And look at the cover.
I adore that cover so much. Turn it a little bit through the light so that people can see the kind of the detail of the back.
Right. There's some like amazing detail.
It might be not on the art. It might be on the other one. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, you
very
can see it.
It's gorgeous.
Just there. It's just there, kind of. We'll go ooh like that. I'm really excited about it. And
we're throwing holograms on the cover now.
Yes. If you look carefully, the ghost of Black Firth Park is on the cover.
Is the art team hearing this?
The graphic designer is like, I don't remember putting that on the cover.
Like, where's the ghost?
I love it. And so it's not just that. I mean, this is an amazing giveaway in itself to get one of these, but look what else you're going to get. We have a legit cookbook from the Great British Baking Show of bake. And we were just looking through it before we went live, and it has like the official. Here's me trying desperately to turn the page. The raspberry chocolate cake is in it from the beginning of the show. And it also has ring donuts. I literally was flicking through this with Becky, and I was like, you know what? I think I need to actually get one of these for myself because everything inside just looks amazing.
Everything looks awesome.
So this and this is the giveaway today. And what we want to know is, this is how you can enter to win this. I mean, nobody actually noticed that we both seem to weirdly be wearing our glasses on tops of our heads, but that was intentional. We're trying to look a little bit more intelligent than we actually are. The way to enter this,
I paid for my hair.
It's legit a hairband. That's what I use my sonnies for. It's a hairband.
It's a smart looking hairband.
Yeah. So this is how you guys can enter it. We want to know your baking disasters.
Yes.
I believe no matter how good of a baker you might be right now today, sometime in your history you had a baking disaster. And I want you to pop it in the comments. That is how you're going to enter to win these 2 incredible books.
Absolutely.
And so
I saw in the comments somebody asked if there's going to be recipes in the book, and the answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
There are recipes in the book.
I'll share one really quick there. That was a very sneak peek.
Really entertaining trying to find recipes to put in the book and trying to see if the recipes could match up different things that I had them bake in the book. And oh my goodness.
Did you test it out? Did you make the recipe and test it? And Be like, okay, I've got to make sure that this actually works.
I plead the fifth.
Or is that your baking disaster?
No.
I think you and I should put our baking disasters in the comments. We'll do that after the live stream, because I certainly have a few, and I'm sure. And it isn't even baking. One of mine is cooking. I put too much salt in the potatoes. I think I was boiling potatoes and putting 2 like tablespoons of salt in there instead of just a quick thing. And we had people coming for dinner. Let's just say my mother wasn't too pleased that I'd done that. I'd ruined the potatoes. They tasted like, we lived on the coast in the UK, and they literally tasted like the air smelt. Is how of the sea. You could smell
that. I'm tasting that right now. Yeah.
And this is exactly how those potatoes tasted.
Tastes like after you gargled with salt water.
Yeah. So we just want to know all of your baking disasters, like what you did wrong, and if you didn't ever, you've never done anything wrong with baking, come up with something, because that's what you need to do in order to enter to win these books. This is going to close on, let's see, we're going to pick a winner on Monday, end of day Monday. So you've got over the weekend to think of something that you may have done wrong when you were baking and share it with the world.
Yes.
It's actually just our little community, you know.
That's fair. That's
nothing to be ashamed of. We've all done it.
No, everyone's done it.
You guys have a good afternoon, good evening.
One quick teaser.
Yes, go.
For anybody who wants to know, in the book and the series, because we're going to have recurring characters, the surly male baking judge is played by David Tennant.
Well, of course, because when this becomes a movie,
we need David Tennant.
We need David Tennant.
And it's the David Tennant that you see on Broadchurch. That brooding. If you don't know brooding David Tennant, watch Broadchurch.
Watch some Broadchurch.
That's brooding David Tennant. And since you don't want to have a David Tennant project without Michael Sheen, I will also tell you that there is a baker that is played by Michael Sheen, and that's Dennis. He's from Northern Ireland. So Michael Sheen doing Northern Irish.
Yeah.
So we have David Tennant.
I honestly think at some point before this book comes out, you need to have all of these pictures, all of the people, all of the characters with their picture. Let's hope it all appears on your social medias. How can we follow you, Becky?
I am on Instagram at author.rebecca.connolly. I believe that's my TikTok handle as well. Not positive, but it is. I'm on Facebook. I have a YouTube channel, but I don't really do much on it. I should, but I don't. What?
Stop baking.
Yeah. Okay. If I do that, I need to make more friends because someone's got to eat the food that I make.
There you go.
So there's that. So I'm probably on Instagram and Facebook the most. So that's the easiest way to get in touch with me. Also, my website, RebeccaConnolly.com.
Awesome. Perfect. You guys stay classy. Go bake something fun. See ya.
Bye, y'all.